Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be building this historical event application. So as you can see, there's going to be markers on the map. It's going to mark the locations where some historical events happened in the past. So for example, if I click one of these markers here, it's going to fly to that location and show you more information about that event. We can also like this event, so if we click favorite, it's going to be added to the favorites. Okay, so also when I refresh, it's also going to stay there because we're going to be using local storage. Okay, but on initial render, we have a default position where we want to start. So this is our default position on initial render. For example, we can also filter these markers depending on the category of the event. So if I click war, it's only going to show the historical events that has to do with war. And then we also have science, politics, religion, etc. So you can click any of these events. It will go to that event and give you information. We can like this event. All right. After the filter, these favorite events, we can click any of these events here. It's going to fly to that location of that event. So for example, when I click this Charles Downs, it should fly to that event, which is in London. We can click any of these liked events, it will fly to that event. Okay, you're going to be learning how to do this using the Leaflet.js package. This project is also responsive, but before I show you how responsive it is, we also have a light theme, so we can toggle between light and dark theme. All right, so let me show you how responsive it is. Let me inspect. When I make the screen smaller, as you can see, it's responsive. Okay, so yeah, this is the demonstration of the project. So if you have any questions, if you're new to the channel, just leave a comment, and also don't forget to leave a like. If you have any questions, you can send me an email or leave a comment. If you have suggestions, you can leave a comment or send me an email. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the video. Okay, so let's start by creating a new project using Next. Let's do npx create next app, and then you can name this whatever you want. I'm going to name this history events. We're going to be using TypeScript and Tailwind CSS, but we're not going to be using Tailwind CSS fully, but just some utility classes. Let's wait for the install. Okay, just a few more seconds. Depending on how quick your internet is, that's how quick it's going to install the project. Okay, so now I'm just going to open the directory, history events. Let's start by cleaning. Let's go to app.js and go into the page. I'm going to collapse the main. I'm going to remove the main, and then I'm going to create another main that is empty. I am going to give it a class name. Let's name it content. Let's go to the terminal and run this. npm run dev. You might notice I'm running on port 3001. That's because I'm running the original project. Here's the original project. Oops, I think I'm zoomed in. On localhost 3000. Okay. That's why I'm on 3001. As you can see now, there's nothing here. Let's go to the global. Instead of CSS, we're going to be using Sass. So let's change the extension to SCSS. We also need to install Sass, npm I Sass. You can use anything for styling, but in this case, I just want to use Sass. Let's go here and change it to Sass instead of CSS. So what we're going to do, we're going to be using a package called react leaflet. Okay, so type react leaflet like this in Google. This is the homepage. Click get started. Go to installation. Copy this react leaflet. Yeah, and we also need to install the core package leaflet like this, and then hit install. It's going to install the package. So let's create components folder. components. Okay, so in the main, with the content, let's go to the global. I am going to get rid of everything here. Everything. So in the body, I am going to give it a height of 100 VH. Height is going to be 100 VH. Okay, so for the content, I am going to give it width 100%, height 100%, like that. Okay, so let's see what we have. So the background color is white. So let's inspect main. It's 100%. Perfect. So what we need to do is kind of create some variables. So we're going to define the root and we're going to define a few variables. So the first variable that we're going to define is going to be the main background color of the body. You can name this whatever you want. I'm just going to name it body and then BG. And then I'm just going to paste in the color. It's a dark color. Okay. And let's see if it's working. So background color is going to be the body BG. Make sure you use var because we're using a CSS variable. As you can see now, the body is really dark. So now let's start with importing some components that we want to use. We're going to import them from the package. Okay, so make sure we're going to be using client. It's a client component. Is client, and we're going to import a few components from the package. So we're going to install map container. This will be the container, the main container, and then we're going to be importing tile layer, and also we're going to be importing the marker component, and as well as we're going to be importing the pop-up component, pop-up from React leaflet. Okay, so now we are also going to be importing some CSS styles. Import CSS styles is going to be leaflet, and then it's going to be leaflet.css like this from the dist folder. Okay, so that's what we need for now. I think the other thing that we need is icon from leaflet. We're going to import icon like that. It should be coming from CS. This is the wrong. It should be from leaflet like that. Okay. So now, what we need to do, we need to. That's what we need for now. If we need anything else later, we will import it. Okay. So we need to start with the map container. So that's the main container. So this is the main content. We need to wrap this in a div. Okay, and let's start with the map container. Map container like that, and it's going to have default properties. Let's do center. Oops, center. Map container. Make sure it is correct. So here we are going to have center, the default position. Let's see what issue this is. So let's create a default position. So default position const default position like that. So this is going to be the default position of the map position. So this is going to be a number. So this is an array. So a number. All right, like that. And then here we're just going to do default position like that. Okay. So now the other thing that we need, I think, zoom. I'm just going to set that to 13. And we also need, that's what we need for now. I'm just going to save. Okay, I don't know what this type number. Okay, let's check how the import. I think Default position. I think I know why. Okay, we'll fix this later. Okay, so now the other thing that we need inside the map container, we need the tile layer. Okay, so the URL, let's use yeah, the recommended, this one. You can use any tile image that you want. Okay, and that's what we're going to only be using for now, this one. So this one is self-closing. Oops, it's already closing. So tile layer. After that, we have the pop-up. We have the marker position, actually. But we set that to the default position. Okay, we're going to change this later, by the way. And we have the pop-up. So the pop-up is this component here. When I click, so this is the pop-up, and the marker is this red icon here. That's the marker. This is the map, and this whole thing is map container. Okay, so let's save. So nothing yet, because let's try to give it width and height. Okay, let's select that. So as you can see now, we have the map because we have set the width and height. Okay, so this is the default pop-up, and the marker, it is this image. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to change, we need to style this in the styles. So what we're going to do, let's give this, we can give this a class name. Okay, so class name, let's name it map container, like that. Oops, map container, like that. So this is the map container. Let's go to global CSS, and then let's type this map container. Okay, so for the map container width and height, it's just going to be 100%. Width and height 100%, like that. Okay, but let's see why. Map content. Okay, so the parent of this map container, it doesn't have a width and height set to it. Okay, that's why the it's not showing. So let's see. So for the parent, let me see, inspect. Okay, we're going to make this responsive later. So the parent is a flex. So we have the filter and we have the content. Okay, I'm going to put a placeholder div here. Okay, so let's do class, and then we're going to do flex. This is tailwind, so we're going to do flex column, flex call. This is tailwind classes, by the way, so we're using flex direction to column. That's what we're doing. Okay, and flex, like that. Content, do I have width and height on the content? Yeah, we do. Okay, so flex column. Okay, so map container width 100%, height, wait a minute. Okay, width. So we need to set the parent, this one, width and height to full. All right, so refresh. So width and height is set to 100%, basically. Width, height, full. Let's go here, class name. So we can give it height. Let's give it 3 rem. Okay, so this is the height of the filter, like that. Okay, so now what we need to do now is just style this whole thing. Let's go to the global. So map container, I would like to give a padding on the content. So I'll do padding. I'm just going to set that to 2 rem. So I want to have like a padding around. All right, so it's working. And I am also going to set on the map container, let's do border radius. I'm going to set that to 1 rem, like that. So I want to have like a rounded corners here. What I'm going to do now is create the rest of the variables. I'm just going to paste in the rest of the variables. It's not a lot, so it's only a few variables. We have some border radiuses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set what is it? Border radius. I'm going to set var. I want to set border radius number 2. I think you can use any values that you want. So in this case, I'm just going to use number 2. And also I'm going to do border. I'm going to say border color, and the border I'm just going to set that to 2 pixels. Okay, so as you can see, it seems like we're having a bit of an issue here. Oops. We're having an issue. So window is not defined, so we need to use a dynamic import. So what we need to do is, let's do a dynamic import. So let's create a new component. Let's name this map folder. You can name this whatever you want, or map. I'm just going to say map app.tsx. And then it's going to be use client, and then it's going to be functional component. Actually, we just need to copy the functional component and export like this. What we need to do is copy this main, copy return main, like this. We just change this to div, like that, and then copy everything here, like that. Save. What we need to do is just a dynamic import here. Okay, get rid of this content class name and get rid of everything here. So let's import this const maps app equal to dynamic. So make sure you import dynamic like this, and then we're going to import components maps app, like that. And then here we're just going to say SSR server-side rendering to false, and then we are going to render the maps app here. So we shouldn't have that warning anymore. Okay, so the issue is because we need to set width and height here. Class name, width, full, height, like that. So we need to maps container already initialized. Where? Page main. Oh, I've pasted this on a wrong component, by the way. dynamic. So okay, so I think that should do it. Let's refresh. Okay, perfect. So now the map is back. We don't have that warning anymore. Okay, so let's keep going. So now we have the pop-up. Once we have the pop-up, we need to, let's create the icon. So we have this red. So how many markers we have? We have one marker here. So let's create a marker icon for that. So in public, I'm just going to put an icon there. Instead of using a calendar, I'm just going to name this marker. Okay, and let's go back to the Maps app. In here, we're going to create our icon. So to create an icon, let's I'm just trying to think where we should create this icon. Let's do it here. Okay, let's do const icon, and then it's going to be icon type icon, and then we're going to do new icon like that, and then we're just going to do some properties for this icon here. We're going to do icon URL. It's going to be coming from the public. So we're going to do calendar, not calendar, it's going to be marker.svg. Okay, so it's coming from the public, it's already been served, so we don't need to include the folder directory, we just include like this. It already knows where to get this icon from. Okay, and then we're going to do icon size. Icon size, we're going to do 25 and 41. And then we're going to do icon anchor 12 and 41 works fine. And let's, what is this hash? Let's save this. We actually need to use this icon. All right, so to use the icon, we need to use it on the marker. So marker, we're going to get rid of this position later, by the way. So marker, we're going to say icon equal to icon like that. All right, let's save. There it is. So there's our icon. Okay. We're going to also create an interface later on. Okay, but first let's create some dummy data for the historic events. I'm going to say const events data. That's for the historic event. I'm going to say historical event. It's going to be an array. Okay, like that. Historical event like that. So we need to create an interface for that. So interface historical event. Could not find declaration file for module leaflet. I don't know why we're having that issue. Let's check. Oh, I think we need to install types like this. Install types. Okay, so it should disappear now. Okay, perfect. So we shouldn't have those issues anymore because we have the types. Now, so we have ID, which is going to be a number. And then we have the title, which is going to be a string. And then we're going to have description. It's going to be a string. We have position. It's going to be number, because we're going to take longitude and latitude. That's going to be our geoposition. And then we're going to have a category. Category is going to be a string. Okay, so now we have this interface. Okay, so now we just need to create some objects here with the data, historical data. So let me see if the AI is going to generate some stuff. I think I might have to manually create this for now. Okay, ID, I'm just going to set that to 1. Title, Great Fire of London. I'll just paste in some of the data I created off screen. So we have ID 1, and then like that. Okay, so now we have two objects. Okay, so now we need to display those objects based on their position on the map. Okay, so these are longitude and latitude geopositions. So we need to display based on the positions. So what we're going to do, we're just going to map through the events data. Okay, this data array here, we're just going to map through. The pop-up content, we're going to add the content later on. So marker, I'll go down here. I'm just thinking where we want to display this. So this marker here, it should be self-closing as well. I'm going to get rid of this marker. It should be self-closing. Pop-up is going to be, it's not going to be self-closing. So the marker self-closing, this pop-up not self-closing, because we're going to include the content inside. Okay, so now after the marker, we are just going to map through the events data. Events data, we're going to map, we're going to get the individual event. Okay, so after we get the individual event, we're just going to return instead of a div here, we're just going to return a marker. Okay, so we need to cut this marker here. We're going to be returning that. Okay, so return marker, and then key is going to be the event.id. Okay, because for each event, it's going to have an ID. Okay, and each event, we're going to have a marker per each event. Okay, and each event is going to have a position. So the position which is going to be a longitude and a latitude. So here, default position is going to be event.position, which is an array of the longitude and the latitude, like that. And then the icon is already been set. Okay, so now we have what we need so far. We have an issue here. Undefined latitude. Okay, so for now, let's take this pop-up and put it within the marker. We're going to remove this later on. Let's put it here. For now, I think, yeah, now the error is gone. Now what we need to do is we need to increase these markers. So let's take the array of our data. We're going to create a new folder. Let's just create a file instead of a folder. Let's just call this history events, like this, and then it should be like a ts. Let's do tsx, like that. History events, and then let's save. So what we're going to do, let's go back, cut the events data here, cut this, and we are going to go to history events. We can just, okay, do here, export. Let's export default. What is this saying? Function. Export default events data, like that. Okay, so we don't have this historical event. So what we need to do, we can export this as well. Export. And then we can import like that, and then we import the interface. Okay, so now the error is gone. So what we need to do now, we need to import the events data. Okay, so here it's being imported from history events like that. So you're still going to see those events. Okay, so what we're going to do, I am just going to paste the rest of the events into this array here. So I'm just going to go off screen and copy the array. Just give me a moment, and I'll just paste here. So you can generate these historical events, or you can put your own data. You can use AI to generate these. Okay, so I used AI to generate these events. So I'm not sure how accurate they are, but they pretty much do the job. Okay, so I've pretty much put like 78 events. So I'm just going to collapse this. So by the way, there's different categories for the events here. So there's politics, religion, sports, other, so make sure you put different categories. Okay, so when I go to the map, you should be able to see the events. Okay, so there's the events. When I click the pop-up, there's nothing you can see here, nothing yet, because we haven't populated the data in the pop-up. Okay, so now let's populate the data. So close this. So in the pop-up here, so we just need to populate the data. So let's start with, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to create a div. I'm going to say pop-up. I'm going to name it inner, like so. And then we are going to have a title, which is going to be an h2, like that. Pop-up inner. Oops. Like that. Pop-up inner. It should be an h2, by the way. h2 dot pop-up inner. It should be title, like that. So for the title, we're using this BEM naming convention. Okay, so with the block and then with the element. Okay, so BEM stands for block element modifier. So the block is going to be the pop-up content here, and then the inner. No, not the inner, I mean the title. Okay, so the inner, this is like a block, and then content element, and then modifier. If we are going to put a modifier, it would be like this, like to give it a different color, like red or whatever. Okay, so yeah. So with the element, now for this one, we're just going to put the title, event.title, like that. And then with the p tag, which is going to be pop-up inner description, like that. And then we put the description, and then we're going to have a button. We're just going to have some options. Okay, so we're going to check. Let's do favorite like this. We're going to do the button later. We're going to, do a toggle of favorite and unfavorite, like that. Okay, so now we have the button and the description. So when I click, you're going to see the pop-up of each of these markers here. All right. So now, I think let's just style this pop-up as well. I think it's better to just do the styles now. Okay. I'm just going to create a partial for the pop-up. Create a new folder. Just name this styles. Okay, and I am going to create a partial. I'm just going to name it popup.scss, and then let's include that in here. So to include, we're just going to do at use, and then we're just going to include the it's in the styles, and then the pop-up partial, like that. So we've included that. So now what we need to do is just do some styles for the pop-up. Okay, so make sure you close this. So let's start with okay, so let's let's start with the background. So let's inspect. Okay, pop-up content. Okay, copy this class name here, content wrapper. Ignore the copilot. Content wrapper. We're just going to set the background color. We're going to do var, and then we're going to do body bg. I think that's the name. And then we're just going to override the current color, the white one. And then the color, we're just going to set that to white. And then it should be color. Can't remember the name. Color white or white color? Can't remember. Yep, color white. That's correct. So the other thing, I am going to target the pop-up content. I'm going to give it a width. So the width I'm going to set to 410. So as you can see, it's now bigger. The content. And then I'm going to target the close button. So the close button, this button here, I just want to make it bigger. I'm just going to increase the padding and give it a width and height to make it bigger. And also I'm just going to give it a color of white and a font size. Okay, and a font size like that. Okay, so now it's bigger. We just overrided the existing styles. Okay, so and now let's target the pop-up inner like that, and then we're going to also target the title in there. So to target the title, it's just like this title, because we're using BEM, so that's how we can select like this. Okay, so title. I'm just going to set the position to relative, and then I'm going to set the font size to 1.3 rem, and then I am going to give it a font weight of 700 and give it a display flex to and center the items like that. Okay, so nice. It's looking pretty good so far. So for the color, I think I'll just set it to a green color for now. You can set it to whatever color you want it for the title. For now, I'll just set it as green. All right, and we're going to do the after pseudo element, which is this line here. So that's why we set the position to relative there, and then we're going to do after, and then we're going to set the content to an empty string. Oops, empty string, and then this should be position of absolute, and then we're just going to give it width and height and a background color. So width, we're going to set that to 35%, and then the height 2 pixels. As you can see now, we have this line here, but we need to give a bit of spacing between the description and the title. Okay, but before I do that, I'm just going to target the I tag. We haven't put the icon yet, so we're going to do that later on. So now let's give it a padding, and we need to also align this to the left. So as you can see in the original, the icon is aligned to the left. We just need to add that icon. Let me check. Okay, let's just put the icon. Let me see. We can get it from Font Awesome. So Font Awesome. Let's get the CDN first. Let's get the Font Awesome. CDN. Oops. Font Awesome CDN. So copy this CDN link and go to the layout. Let's put head here so we can paste in the CDN link, and then the cross origin. Make sure this is capital O, and then the policy capital P, and then save. So now we're going to be able to use Font Awesome. Okay, so we don't see the icon yet, but we still need to keep styling. Let's go for the description. So we have the title, and then we're going to target the description within the pop-up inner description. So for the description, I'm just going to give it a color and a font size of the color white and the font size of 1.2, like that. Okay. It's coming up nice. The other thing that we want is button. So for the button, I don't know if we gave it a class. So button class name, pop-up inner It should be button. So this should be pop-up dash inner, like that, and then we have the button. So let's target this button. Let's start by giving it a color and a font weight. So the color, I'm going to set that to the green color. Also, you can put this color into a variable just in case you want to change the theme of this. I'm also going to target the span. So let me show you what I mean. So when I inspect, so the span is going to be this icon here, the star. So let's go to the button. Let's do span. Oops, span. So here, that's where we're going to put the icon. So let's start by defining the icon. So okay, let's do it after here. So we'll do const empty star, like this. So we're going to have two icons for the empty star and then the filled one, equal to I. It should be fa regular, fa, and then regular. So you can go to font awesome and look for the whatever icon you want to use. Okay, so we have empty star, fa regular, like this, and then we're going to have a field const. We're going to have a star that is filled. Okay, just name it full star. It's like this, so it should be fa solid, fa star. Okay, but I am going to give it a yellow color, the star color. So it should be this gold color here, gold, like that. To be precise, I'm just going to use a hex value, which I found on the internet. Let's do FD, and then C4, and then 01, like that. All right, so now we have the full star, empty star. We need to use those stars. Okay, for now, we're going to be using those stars conditionally based on whether we like. All right, so here, I'm just going to only put the empty star for now. We're going to change this later on. So now there's our star. It should be favorite. Oops, favorite. Favorite, like that. So now there's the button. It doesn't do anything for now. Let's continue styling this button here. So span, I'm just going to display flex the icon and give it a line height of 0. And I will target the icon and give it a margin top and then -3 pixels, like that. Okay. For some reason, it's not displaying flex the button. Let me see. Button, we should be display flex, like that. We need to give it a gap 0.5 rem. Let's try that. Okay, font size inherit, font weight 600. Button. Okay, so let's inspect. Font size. Okay, what font size did I give this one? Inspect. Let's see. Okay, so we didn't set the parent font size. Pop-up inner, title, description. I'll take this and put it here, like that. In the parent, it's still not inheriting. Okay, I'll copy that button, just put it 1.2 rem like that. So display flex, and then we need to align items to center. So it's going to be centered. Okay, nice. So now we have the button. You can increase this width of this pop-up, by the way. It's entirely up to you. Okay, remember we set the width up here to 410, or you can put it to 420. All right, nice. So now I think that's it for the pop-up for now. So now we just want to be able to favorite and unfavorite, okay? And then we're going to work on the filtering later on. So for us to be able to favorite, let's create a state. Let's create a state, shall we? Okay, so the state, I'll do it here, const. So here we're just going to create a state called favorites, and then set favorites. Okay, yeah, this should be. Make sure you import useState, or you can just do react.useState like that. All right. We didn't import React as well, so just import useState. useState. Why is it not importing useState automatically? Just import it up here. Import useState like that. Okay, so now it should be a historical event. Okay, instead of being historical event, so favorites, this should be, instead of historical event, it should be a number array. All right, number like that. Okay, so for the favorites, we're going to set, when I click favorites, we're going to send whatever I click in the local storage. Okay, so let's do that now instead of doing it later. So let's create a callback function in here instead of an empty state here. Let's do a callback function. So we're just going to say const saved. We're going to save this to local storage. Saved favorites, and then we are going to get the favorites from the local storage. If we do have something in the local storage, we're going to get, okay, from the local storage, and then we're going to do close this, and then here we're going to return our saved favorites. So if we do have the saved favorites, or we're going to set it to an empty array. Okay, so if we have something from the local storage, we're going to get that. It's going to be our initial data. Otherwise, it's just going to be an empty array if we don't have anything in the local storage. Okay, so this is just the initial data. Okay, so that's the state for our favorites. So we need to be able to handle favorites. So what happens when we click, we want to, we want to set whatever we favorite in the local storage. Okay, so const handle favorite click equal to, so it's going to take the event ID like that, which is going to be a number. All right, so here I'm just going to say let we're using let because we're going to update this variable. So we're going to do updated favorites. Okay, like this. It's going to be equal to favorites. Okay, we're going to filter So we're going to filter the favorites, and then we're just going to return. We're just going to return a new array here of the updated favorites. Okay. So now we're just going to check if whatever we click on was already in the favorites array, and then we're just going to remove that from the array. Okay. So we're just going to do if not favorites, if not favorites dot includes. Oh my, I can't even spell favorites. How did I? Okay, I'll just copy this to make it easier. If not favorites dot includes. Okay, so we're checking if it includes the event ID, which is going to be coming from this parameter here. Okay, so if it does, we're just going to update this variable here. So here instead, we're just going to update it to equal to a new array, and then we're just going to say event ID and then updated favorites. Okay, like that, and then we're just copying the existing favorites data. So now we're just going to set favorites to updated favorites like that, and then we're just going to send that to local storage. Okay, local storage does set item. That's how we put something to local storage, and then we're just going to stringify those. All right. So when we click this button, we want to send. We're going to pass in the ID, the event ID, and then we're going to send that to the local storage. Okay. So for us to be able to know what item I click, I want to get the data of whatever item I click on. So I'm going to create a new state, because when I click on the item, I want to put on the state. So let's create a state for that. So I'm just going to say const. I'm going to say active event. So active event. So this means it's a historical event. So you can name this whatever you want, or active historical event. Okay, so it's not like a JavaScript event or anything. It's just a historical event. Okay, so the state is going to be historical event, and then on initially it's going to be null. Okay, so when I click, whatever point I click, I want to get the data and put that in the state. So whatever data put in the state, I want to get that ID, the ID of the historical event. Okay. So we need a way to update this state here and put the data. So let's go down. When do we want to update this event? When I definitely click. So when I click, okay, I'm just looking. When I click, wait a minute, I'm just checking when I click. Okay. So end of favorite click. Let's do on click here. On click. Let's do a callback function, and then we're just going to pass in the event.id. Okay, so here we're mapping through the data. So whatever I click on, we're just sending that ID. Okay, so each pop-up is going to, we're mapping through this array. So each item in the array is going to have this ID here. So which means each pop-up is going to have this ID here, and each pop-up is going to have this button. Okay, so let's see if this works. Let's go to local storage, application. So we are looking for 3001. That's what we are looking for. Okay. 3001. Where's the local storage here? 3001. We don't have anything. Let's try to click something. As you can see now, we have an array. It has the ID. Okay, and when I click this one, it's adding the item. Okay, so when I refresh, we have these items here. That's what we're going to be getting from local storage on an initial render. Let's start by setting the state of this active event. So when I click on this one of these pop-up, I want this data to go on the state set event. So we want to set that data when I click the marker. Okay, so we're going to add the event handler property here, and then this comes with a package. Okay, so we're going to have a click, and then we're going to set the event, this event object here. We're going to put that to the state. All right, so we're going to have the active pop-up data when I click on this marker here in the state. So when we have that pop-up data, we want to populate that data here in this pop-up. So let's cut this pop-up. Let's make this marker self-closing. All right, and okay, after the events.data, so we are going to say if we have the active event, if we have if we click on a marker, we're going to have active event. And then that's when we're going to display the pop-up, okay? Like that. So we don't have this data anymore, so this should be active event instead of event. Copy this and replace like that, and then let's save. So we should be able to click. Okay, so we're having that issue now, but we also need to give this a position, this pop-up a position, position property, and then we're going to do active event dot position. Okay, and also let's save this. Click. Okay, so now it's showing on the clicked marker the position. Okay, when I zoom out, all right, the position is correct. Perfect. That's what we need. Now the only thing is to display the data here that we have favorited. For that, so let's do the conditional for the star first. Okay, so the condition for the star is going to be based on the favorites, the array. So I'm gonna get rid of this for now. Okay, and then we're going to do this. We're going to do favorites that includes active event ID, like this, active event dot ID. So if we test the ID of the active event, because each event is going to have an ID in the state, and then we're going to put a full star. If it doesn't, it's going to be empty, like that. So when I click, as you can see now, it's toggling the star. What we need to do is just put the text. Okay, instead of this, we're just going to do a span. For this span, we're just going to have this, and we are going to have, for the full star, we are going to have unfavorite. And we are also going to have favorite, like that. Perfect. Now we have the text. We just need to display that data here on the side. So I am going to create a new div, Here, you just want to say events, or you can say liked events like that. And then we are just going to make it simple. We're just going to add a title. It's going to be in H2 like that. Oops, H2 dot liked events, title like that. And then we just, put the length here. You can put the length if you want to. It says 2 favorited events like right here. Or you can just put an icon. It's entirely up to you. In this case, I'm just going to put a solid star here like this. Seems like we have an issue with prettier. We are not closing this icon. All right, and it should work. So now, let's do an unordered list. We're just going to map through the favorites array. So the favorites array, we're just going to map through, and then we're going to return a list item. We're going to return an li like that. So, and then we're going to do key. So for this one, we are just going to pass in the key as it should be event .id. That's going to be the key because it's a list. Favorites. Okay, let me see what favorite is. Okay. Ah, I see. Because the favorites, it should be the ID. Okay, so here, instead, we're going to return events data. We're going to find based on the ID. Okay, find. Okay, event.id equal to ID, like that. And then we are going to map after that. Okay, .map. And then here we're going to get the event. And then we're going to return event.id. It's possible undefined. We're returning a list here. We only need the title, we don't need description. The only thing that we need here is just the title. Get rid of this, and okay, we have to do this because it might be undefined. Okay, let's save. So favorited events, there they are down here. We're showing a list of them down here. Okay, because here, so the favorites, their IDs, we're mapping through those IDs. Okay, so and then we're going to say to find in this array here, whatever item that has this ID, and then we're just going to return. Okay, if the event.id here in the events data matches this ID here, we return those items, and then we are mapping those items we're returning. We're returning a new array here, and then we're mapping that array and displaying as a list. Okay, now we just need to style events. I'll copy the lacked events. So for the lacked events, we need to do the styles for those. I'm just thinking where we can do those styles. Let's go in the global. In the global, I'll just put it here. So I'm going to set flex to 1. Okay. Because let me see. Inspect. Okay. So there's a flex here. content, display flex. Okay, so content, it should have a flex display. Let me inspect. Content, yep. So content, we need to have a display, oops, display flex, like that. So we should be able to see the events here. Height 12. All right. Flex. Okay, so it's in a container. All right, so let's see the maps data. So it's in a container. It's already in a flex, but it needs to have a width of put it to full here. Instead, we have to give it a certain width, like that. And then we need to give a gap. I believe the gap, how much is it? 1.5 rem. Gap 1.5. You can put any gaps that you want, like that. All right. So now, let's give it a padding, border radius, and the box shadow in the border, like that. There it is. It's looking pretty good. The only reason it's not there's a space here because we haven't put the filter. Okay, and let's give it a color. And I'm going to get rid of the scroll bar because I'm setting the width to 4 pixels. So it's going to be invisible, but we're going to be able to scroll, but the scroll bar is going to be invisible. All right. For the event, I'm just going to target the title. 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 So for the title, I'm just going to give it a font weight and display flex. And the icon, I'm going to set that to the icon color, the yellow color, like that. So you should have this yellow color. All right. So the list item, we need to give it a name. So what name should we give it? Class name. Let's name it event. So remember, we're using BEM. You can use any styling you want, to be honest. Event, like that. And then we're going to target the event. So for the event, I'm going to give it a padding and give it a font weight and a box shadow with the variable that we have. Nice. And I'm going to give it a color of white and overflow Y to auto. I'm not sure if this should be here. Get rid of this. It should be on the can't remember the parent of this. What is this? It should be here on the parent. It's already there, so we don't need. Okay. And yeah, when I click, we want to be able to also show whatever item this is. We want to open this pop-up here. So when I click, I want to open the pop-up. Okay. So nothing happens now. Now let's just work on the event listener for the pop-up. So when we click, we show the pop-up of the clicked item. Okay. So we're going to create that function for handling that. All right. Let's go to maps. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so here const, we're gonna do handle. So we're going to handle list item click. Okay, so it's going to take in the event ID, the ID of whatever item we click on. So when we click the ID and then want to open the corresponding pop-up. Okay, so we're going to say find by ID. Okay, and then we're going to say const event equal to events data dot find events data dot find, and then we're going to return the corresponding item to this ID here. Okay, and then we're going to say if event, and then we're going to set the active event to open the pop-up. Open the pop-up, and then we're just updating the state. Set active event to the current event we click on. All right. Copy this function here. So we are just going to put in a click on the list item, which is the event. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so we do have the key. I'd rather put the key here. And then we're going to have on click. Let's do a callback function. All right, and here we're just going to do this, and then we'll pass in the event.id. What issue do we have here? Argument of type number. Undefined. Okay, we don't need to do this. Okay, let's save. Let's see if this is working first. When I click, okay, it's opening the correct pop-up. Let me try to like something else. Like favorites, it's adding to favorites. When I refresh, by the way, we don't lose the data because it's in local storage. So when I click, it's opening the correct pop-up. Let me try to go far away. When I click, it's gonna go to the actual pop-up. Okay. Event ID. Okay, let me check the type here. So number. Okay, it's a number. The type is not set to number. I don't know why it's complaining. Okay, I see. Let's do as number like that. All right. So now, we are going to, let's work on, oops, let's see. Okay, so now we need to work on this effect here. So when we click, we need to zoom in, okay, to wherever we click on. So let's work on that zoom effect. So we're going to create a separate component for that zoom effect. Okay, so let's create a component. Okay, it's called fly to marker. So that's going to be the component. Fly to marker .tsx. Okay, so that's our component. So in this component, it's going to be a very simple component. We're going to run a use effect here. So we're going to say const fly to marker. Fly to marker. So it's going to take in the position. Okay, the position. The other thing is going to be the zoom level. Okay, so zoom level, and we don't want any type checking here, so we're just going to set that to any. All right. So we're going to be using a hook coming from the package, the leaflet package. Okay, so we're going to say const map, you go to use map, that's the hook, use map. So make sure you import that hook, import use map from React leaflet. Okay, we're importing that hook. Now we just need to run a use effect like that. So yeah, it's going to be dependent on the hook map, and also it's going to be dependent on the position. It's going to re-render when these changes, okay, and then the zoom level. Okay, so here, if we have the position, when we click, we're going to have the position, and then if position, we're going to say let's do a zoom level. So const zoom, we go to zoom level, and then we're going to, we can set it to 13 by default, but we're going to do map dot get zoom like that, and then we're going to do map dot fly to position, whatever position we're going to pass in. So make sure this should the spelling should be correct. So let's refresh position, rename position like that, position. Instead of zoom, you can give it your own, you can put it into a parameter as well. But in this case, I'm going to do a duration, or duration as well. You can put duration here as a parameter. You can control these properties as you want. So duration, I'm just going to set it to 1. Okay. That's it. I'm just going to save this. Okay. So we can use this zoom as a fallback, or you can use the provided one. Okay. Now we're just going to use that. Let's export this to be before we do anything. Export default, that. So now is the time to use it. After pop-up, so make sure we use that in this in the container. So right after pop-up, we're going to do active event, and then we're going to do fly to marker. So the position, we're going to set that to active event dot position. The zoom level, let's set that to 15, and let's save. So there's an issue, it cannot be used. Flymark cannot be used as a JSX component. It's not assignable. Let's go back to FlyMarker. Okay. Let's see. Do we need to give it a return type here? I don't think we do. I mean, but it's working. Let's try to fix this TypeScript error. FlyMark cannot be used as a JSX element. The return type is void, so void is not allowed. So let's see why. Copy this error, go to the browser and paste. Okay. I think so. The return type is set to void, so React doesn't want that. So let's go to the file. So we need to return something that can be used as a JSX in JSX. I think no do can work. Yep. We should have the error now. So now let's work on the filter. Okay, and we can, if we're far away, we can, zoom in. This speed, by the way, the duration, you can increase the duration if you want. So it's entirely up to you. Let's try to favorite a new item. Favorite. So the item that we favorite is going to be at the top. Okay. When I try to favorite another item here, it's going to be at the top. Nice. So what we want to do now is just do a filter component. Components filter .tsx. It should be filter.tsx. So this should be a functional component. Oops. React functional component, and then we're going to export. So for the filter, we are going to have a select input. All right. Let's select. Let's give it a class name. Filter class name should be filter. Get rid of this, and then we're going to have dot filter select like that. Okay, so it's a div. It's going to be the container, and then we're going to have select. Okay, so for the select, we are not going to have an ID or name. We're just going to have an option, and then the value for this one is going to be empty, and then it's going to be all. Okay, so we need to go to maps, and then we need to put it here. Okay, filter. Instead of href here, we're just going to do filter. The component, we render this here and save. So we should be able to have this filter component here. All right. So we are going to map the categories. We need to create some categories. So we need to create an array, categories, and then we're going to map through. It's going to be our selection. Okay. Const categories. Categories is going to be an array. So you can put any categories here, art or whatever. I'm just going to paste in an array of categories in here. Okay, so we have wall, art, science, other, whatever you put in there. And then we're just going to map through for the rest of the categories and return an option, which is going to be a list of these options here. All right. So now we have those options. We want to be able to get the value of that option. Okay. So what are we going to do with the value? That's what we're going to be using to filter the data. So let's create an interface props, and then we're going to say selected category is going to be, instead of a string, it's going to be react.dispatch. React.dispatch, so it's going to be state, because we're going to set, so string or no. Okay. My keyboard is one of the worst keyboards. I can't find. I think I need to hold FN. Nope. I have the worst keyboard. Control. I want to do the pipe. Okay, I just copy and paste like that. Okay, so selected category is going to be coming from maps data here. Okay, so we need to create a state for that. So when we select a category in the input, okay, so let's create a state for selecting that category. Okay, so favorites const selected category. Okay, so it should be equal to a string or no, like that. Select a category. We're going to pass that into here, selected category. Okay, so when we change, we're also going to update the state. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's go back to filter. All right. So when we select that value, we want to put that into the state. Okay, so select here. We're going to say on change. On change, we're going to take in the event, and we're going to return set selected category. Should be set maps. It should be set okay, so the state filter should be set like this because we're updating the state like that, and then we're going to get e.target.value like that. Okay, so whatever we select, it should go into the state. Let's check it out. Let's go to components. Seems like we have an issue somewhere. Console. We'll fix this later. Expected. Okay. Oh, I see. Where is that? What is it talking about? Okay, it's just talking some random stuff. Okay, so now let's look for the what component filter. So, oops, filter, click filter, but it should be the maps app. So the selected state is science. You should change the politics, sports. Okay, so the state is updating. Okay, so that's what we want. Okay, so now when the state is updating, let's go to the maps. So we want to do selected category. We want to filter the marker here. So the markers, we want to filter these markers here based on the category. Okay, so for us, we need to filter this. So events.data, before we map, we need to filter first. So dot filter, we need to filter based on the selected category. Okay, so filter event. Now the event like this, event, and then we're going to say if not selected category, which basically means it's going to show everything if we didn't select anything. Okay, if not selected category. Otherwise, if we if we do have category, if category equal to if event dot category equal to selected category. If we do have a selected category, we want to show those items. Okay, if the selected category matches, this. Okay, and then save. So we should be able to filter this. So now we have everything. Science. Okay, so it's filtering based on the category. Okay, and when I click, it's going to send me to that location. Okay, I don't know about this location here. Okay, you can zoom out, click any location. Okay. Now it's taking a while to load this map, by the way. But yeah, the filtering is working. So I think the only thing that's left now is to do the styles. Okay. That is great. Let's do the styles. So for the filter, I think we can just create a new partial for that. Filter.scss. And then let's go to edit to the global. Filter and then save. So let's go to the partial. Let's start with the filter, const filter class. And then I'm going to give it a padding and a height of 80 pixels and a display flex and justify content space between. Okay, we're going to have a theme toggler here, so that's why we're using flex. And then I'm going to give it a background. And then I'm going to target select. I'm going to set the position to relative, give it a width and height. So width, set that to 3 em. Okay. For the gap, I think we need to give it display flex. Let me inspect flex. Okay, we need to give a gap for this one. Map flex gap. So 1.5 rem equal to 8. Actually, 1.5 rem is 6. Gap 6. Okay, make this space even. Let's go ahead to the filter, and I'm going to give it a border. Border radius. It's going to be rounded like this in the border. And I'm going to target the actual select element. I'm going to give it a padding 0 and then 1 rem left and right. And then I'm going to give it outline and appearance to none and give it a flex, set flex to 1 like that. All right. I'm just going to give it a color and a cursor to pointer. Color, I'm going to set that to white. All right. We're going to do an after solid element. Okay, so make sure we set the percent to relative as we did here. And then we're going to do an after. After, it's going to be that triangle, little triangle thingy here. It's too big, but we just have to, make it smaller. We are using a clip path, so width 3 em. Height is set to 100%, but in this case, I'm going to get rid of this. For us, we're going to be using content. Instead, we're going to do slash and then 25 and then BC. So it's going to be that little triangle, this triangle here, there it is. Okay, and I'm going to give it a padding and a color. And let's set the position to absolute and then give it a background, display flex and center everything like that. And there it is. All right, and it's changing. It's filtering the data. Perfect. So now we have the select icon. Now we want to toggle the theme here. We're going to have a switch. Okay. We're going to be creating a theme toggler. Let's go back to the filter. After the filter, okay, here, theme toggler. So in the theme toggler, we're going to have input type is going to be checkbox. Okay, so we're just going to have a massive checkbox. It's going to be behind, and then ID theme toggler checkbox, and then we're also going to have a class name like this, theme toggler checkbox. All right, and after the import, we're going to have a label, and make sure you put the theme toggler. Make sure the name matches. Checkbox for the HTML4, and then class name. We're going to say theme toggler. It should be label like that, and then it should be toggle like that. So make sure you have text in here. Okay, so there it is. So let's try to toggle the theme. All right. So I'm gonna say const theme. We go to set theme. So by default, we're going to have dark theme. Use state. Where is it? Okay, let's just do like this. React.useState. So well, with the theme state. Okay, and we're going to create a chain theme here. Let me cut this. Const change theme. So to change the theme, we're going to say if theme equal to light theme. Let's do the light theme, and then we're just going to set theme to dark, else set theme to light theme like that. All right. So when we toggle, we want to change the theme. So you should make sure it's on the label. Okay, don't put on the input and then change theme when you click the label. Okay. So now let's go to the global root. Copy this. So we change it to a class name dot dark theme. Okay, and then duplicate for the light theme. We just need to change these variables here. For example, if I do light theme, let me set this to red to see if it works. Okay, and let me copy in the body. I'll just say light theme. As you can see now, it's red. So we just need to set the class here on the body, and then it will work. So when I click this label, that's when we want to change the theme. So we're going to do that. We're going to apply a class on the body, on the document. So we're going to use the react.use effect because we're going to apply on the body. So every time the theme changes, we're going to re-render. So we're going to do document.body class name. We're going to set that to the theme, whatever. So we're setting the class name to theme. So the theme, if it's dark, the class name is going to be dark, or otherwise it's going to be light. All right. So, and that's it. When I click, it should set the theme, but it's not working. Okay, let's see why. Let's inspect. Console element. So body is set to dark theme. When I click, nothing happens. Very strange. Body light. Okay, so let's go back to global. Light theme. It's not working. Okay, I was clicking the wrong thing. I was clicking the input, so we need to click the label. But we're going to get rid of this, by the way. So it's working. Now we can toggle. So we just need to style the input, the theme toggler. So go back to filter, theme toggler. We're going to display flex and align center. And then we're going to target the checkbox. We're going to give it a height, width to 0 and visibility to hidden. So now we don't have the checkbox anymore. All right. And we're going to select checked plus label. The color, we're going to say header, PG, like that. And we're going to do the after. And checkbox after left, it should be -3. And then transform, translate -100%. So make sure you close this. All right. We don't see anything yet because we have not added more styles. So the label, the one we're clicking on, label, I am going to give it a position relative, height, cursor to pointer, border radius 100 pixels. All right. Nice. Give it a transition and a border 2 pixels. Position set to relative, so we need to do an after. Content empty string position absolute. Let's give it a width 20 pixels, height 100% -6. All right. Label. So make sure this is the correct spelling name. Label, like that. All right. Perfect. So we want to sort of create a stretching effect. To create a stretching effect, we're going to do after and after when it's active. After, actually it's active after the width, let's set that to 35 or 40 pixels. As you can see now, it's stretching. So when it's active, it's like for a brief moment, but we have a transition, so it feels like it's stretching. Okay, so it's like for a brief, so active state is like a brief moment. All right, so yeah, it's working. So now we just need to get rid of this text. We're going to be using text indent to minus, let's do 999, oops, like that. So we shouldn't have the text anymore. Perfect. So now we just need to change the colors for the light theme here. So replace these light theme colors with whatever colors you want. I'm just going to paste in the colors instead of doing them manually. You can kind of, find colors you want for your light theme. I'll just paste in these colors here. Okay. And when I click, it's looking, I don't like these colors, by the way. I think I'll change them off camera. But it's doing what it's supposed to do. But the background color is not changing actually. So body BG. Let's see, where is that being set? var body BG. Let's see. Okay. Perfect. Now we have light and dark theme applied. Okay. This, you can work around these colors for the light theme, but I don't really like them, not gonna lie. But I think that's it. We can try to make this responsive. Let's see. Okay, so around, let's say 1635 width. Width. Let's do 60. 1635 70. Where's the, oops, maps? Okay, let's give this a class map content. Okay, instead of giving a width here, I'll remove this. How many percent is this? 80. I'll remove this. And let's go do it in the global content. So width, I want to set that to 75%. All right, so we should have a decent amount of, width. Now we can make it smaller. So at around 1298, at media screen, and max width 1298. Width, we're going to set that to 65%. All right. Okay, like that. I think content, I'm going to say at media, $895. We are going to display flex. I'm going to set flex direction to column like that. Actually, flex direction column, we need to find a way. Column and the width, we're going to set that to 100%. Oops. Width, 100%. So the width is set to 100%, like that. But we need to kind of give also spacing for these items here. Let's go to filter. It's not filter, it's events. Remember events? It's in the global events. So this should have a bit of a height. You can set that to actually it's select events. Yep. 300 pixels. What's going on here? Height. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so the height is set to full filter. Map container. Flex column. Content. Okay, so the content is displaying flex, the map content, and the elect event. Okay, I see. So the map content, let's do height. Let's do 60%. Okay, something like that. So map content, height 60%. So cut this. This should be on the map content. Map content. Map content should be in the global. Map content. Okay, 95. So height. And okay, so okay, like that. I think let's do 55. Okay, so we can still scroll on these items here. All right, so you can kind of work around with these media queries for the font size. You can work around the font size. You can reduce the font size. You can reduce the pop-up size. Okay, and we can zoom out, click. It will open the pop-up. You can reduce this font size depending on the screen size, okay? Let's try to just do the font size for that smaller screen. Let's do 700 in the body. 700. Font size, let's set that to 90%. Yeah, I think that will do. Oh, you can do the selector for everything like this. All right, like that. Doesn't work. Just do the body, and you can do individual components, whatever suits you. Just do whatever suits you. Okay, so this is just the basics of media queries. So if you want to ask me anything, let me know in the comment section. Also, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll see you on the next one.